What is the hormone lattice? Okay. Western medicine views the body as individual systems. So we have our endocrinologist, we have our cardiologist, we have our urologist, we have our ear, nose, and throat doctor, we have our bone doctor, right? Our orthopedic docs. Um, we pretty much have a doctor for every part, every system within the body. What's actually true is your body is an interconnected network, and every single hormone and the function of every single part of your body influences every other part. And the way that it does this is through hormones. Your hormones, in fact, well, that's one of the ways it does it. You also have the TLDR version of this is you also have fascia. This is a literal webbing that connects the structure of your body. So this is more, okay, another piece to this. You are not merely matter, you are matter and energy. And health is at that interface between energy and matter. Health resides between this perfect dance between energy and matter. You convert the food you eat into energy to fuel your body and meet all of your hormone needs. You convert as children convert the food they eat into matter, but it's a transformation of matter. Okay. So with that, we're going to be talking more about the subtle body. So fascia is one aspect of it. Fascia is more gross or physical. We are talking about the hormones. This is more of the subtle body. This is more of the communication paths within the body. This is getting a little bit more into the energetic realm, the part of you that is not merely matter. And the best way to view that, much like the fascia, is also like a web. Okay, so this is a spider web, and this web gives the spider so much information. When an insect, so this would be the spider's food, makes its way into the web, flies into the web, the spider senses that because of the disruption of the web, right? It is able to sense and feel what went wrong or where in the web there's a disturbance and then respond to that disturbance. So if we think of our body very much as we think of this spider, we have a control center, just like the spider, right here in our brain. And it's a gland known as the hypothalamus. It is constantly receiving information from all parts of your body, deciding what to do with that, deciding how to react to that, and then responding by making hormones that signal another part of your body to do something. Okay, we are going to revisit this. So, just this is kind of the broad overview. Okay, now imagine what happens when a bird flies through this spider web. And it could be a very small bird like a hummingbird. But imagine what happens when a bird flies through it, a hummingbird flies through it. Well, several different things could happen, right? If we have a hummingbird fly through this region, the spider senses a disturbance in this region and goes in and rebuilds these strands that are broken. What happens if a hummingbird flies through here? One of these anchor strands, these strands that tether the web to the environment. Well, the web folds in on itself. And the spider has more work to do to restabilize the web. In the same way, this is how your body works. Okay. So this is just taking a look at the hormone lattice. I've not included those anchor strands that tether your body to the environment. What we are looking at here is just your body floating in space. And you may think, well, it kind of looks more like a target. than it does necessarily a web or a lattice right now. I very much like to think of it as a web. So let's just walk through this. All right, each one of these strands represents a different hormone. So we have progesterone is this outermost ring, testosterone is the next ring, estrogen, DHEA. So all of your sex hormones are the rings in this particular one. And then the spokes, kind of like the spokes of a wheel, we've got melatonin, cortisol, thyroid. I grouped thyroid T3 and T4 here. Your thyroid gland also makes three other hormones, so we rarely talk about adrenaline, insulin. These two, SHBG and TBG, are not actually hormones. They bind hormones. They are binding globulins or binding proteins. Just know your body makes 40, I believe it's 42 different hormones. And part of the reason for not putting them here is especially for TBG, it got really crowded. Aldosterone. Now, because TBG and SHBG both influence hormones, I went ahead and left them here. But like I say, just know these are not hormones. These are more hormone influencers. Um, the point of this is whenever something changes in any of these, it impacts every other part. So a change in your insulin is going to impact all of your sex hormones. It's going to impact your thyroid hormone, your cortisol, your melatonin, and all the others. Okay, this is worth noting. I know this program's not specific to perimenopausal, menopausal women. However, this is so worth noting because regardless of your age right now, one day you will be here. What happens for women after 40 is these the amount or the kind of the thickness of the strands of the sex hormones gets thinner because these are starting to diminish, not disappear, but diminish within the body. And so, whereas in this web on the left, these sex hormones are really able to buffer and provide much more buffer to your system than they are after the age of 40. After the age of 40, you simply do not have as much buffer because, especially, you're losing progesterone, you're losing estrogen, DHEA, and testosterone are also dramatically affected, especially testosterone. DHEA is produced by the adrenals, not necessarily the ovaries. However, DHEA also starts to diminish because of the relationship and because of the conversion between testosterone and DHEA, and because of the demands of DHEA to kind of be diverted down alternate pathways to support other hormone levels. So all of your sex hormones start to diminish after 40, and those strands just become a lot thinner, a lot more fragile, a lot less able to provide any sort of buffer to your system. And so this is why, unless we're living like super optimally, and here I mean incredibly optimally, very little stress, um, great nutrition, all of the things. This is why so many of us struggle in that perimenopause menopause shift. Okay, we just talked about what's the difference between the two. So I'm going to go on. Okay. Um, we also talked in detail about this. Now, the reason why I included this particular example of a spider web is this gives you I feel like this kind of highlights the anchor strands. Again, these are the strands that tether the web, in this case, tether your body to the environment. So, what are the anchor strands for us? Well, they are diet, lifestyle, and exercise. And yes, I like to pull lifestyle and exercise apart, you could say, well, exercise is really part of your lifestyle. Well, yeah, that's true, but there's so much to exercise. There's how you exercise, what form of exercise you choose. There's how often you do it. There's how long you do it. Like there's all the things. There's so much to exercise. It really deserves its own anchor strand. Lifestyle, this is everything. This is your work-life balance. This is how this is how satisfied you are in your relationships, how healthy your relationships are, how stressed certain relationships are, your, how stressed you are in general, financial and really all of the things. Um, then of course diet plays a huge role in supporting your body and in supporting optimal hormonal balance. Okay, this is how I work with clients one-on-one is we focus in on three hormones, the hormones again that make you tick. And I mentioned this earlier in today's session. Thyroid, insulin, and cortisol, the three hormones that make you tick.